Imagine a garden so advanced it shouldn't have existed in the ancient world. A structure where water appeared to move upward, where trees grew above stone terraces, where layers of greenery rose into the sky like a man-made mountain. And yet, despite being described in detail for centuries, we have never found a single confirmed trace of it. No ruins, no foundation, nothing that matches the scale or complexity recorded in historical accounts. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are different from every other lost structure in history. They are not buried in a known location, not submerged beneath water, not partially uncovered. They are missing in a way that is harder to explain, because the descriptions are not vague. They are consistent, specific, detailed enough to create a clear image of how the gardens looked and how they functioned. Which raises a problem, because structures described with that level of precision usually leave something behind. A trace, a fragment, a foundation that anchors the story to a place. But here, that anchor doesn't exist. And when something this significant is described without leaving evidence, the question shifts. Not where it is, but whether we've been looking for the wrong thing all along. To understand why the Hanging Gardens matter, you have to step into the world they are said to belong to. Because Babylon was not just another ancient settlement. It was designed to project power. Massive walls, structured gates, organized spaces that reflected control and intention. Under rulers like Nebuchadnezzar II, the city expanded into something that wasn't just functional. It was meant to be seen, remembered, and recognized as dominant. This was a civilization that redirected water, reshaped land, and built on a scale that required coordination, labor, and long-term planning. Within that context, the idea of an elevated garden is not as unrealistic as it first sounds. But the details go further. The gardens are described as layered terraces, supported by structures capable of holding soil, trees, and continuous water flow above ground level. Not decorative landscaping, but engineered environment. Water lifted, redistributed, and sustained in a region where natural elevation did not support it. And that's the key detail. Because this wasn't built because it was necessary. It was built because someone wanted something that didn't belong there. Whether it was to recreate a distant landscape or to demonstrate capability, the result was the same. A structure that represented both wealth and control over the environment itself. And if something like that existed, it wouldn't just reflect power. It would redefine what was possible at the time. Which is why its absence becomes harder to ignore. Because civilizations that build at that level don't leave nothing behind. Over time, multiple efforts have been made to locate the remains of the Hanging Gardens, focusing on the region traditionally associated with Babylon. Excavations have uncovered significant portions of the ancient city. Walls, gates, residential structures, administrative areas. Evidence that confirms much of what is known about its scale and design. But within those discoveries, nothing has been definitively linked to the gardens described in historical accounts. No irrigation system that matches the required scale. No structural foundation capable of supporting multiple elevated layers filled with soil and plant life. No configuration that aligns with the detailed descriptions passed down over time. And this is where the problem becomes difficult to ignore. Because if something like this existed, it shouldn't be missing. Not completely, not without a trace. Which leads to a series of explanations, each addressing part of the issue, but not resolving it entirely. Some suggest the gardens were located in a different city, misattributed over time through repeated accounts that merged locations. Others argue that the structure was real, but smaller, less complex, and gradually expanded in description as the story was retold. And then there is the possibility that what was described was never a single physical structure, but an interpretation of something observed, an idea shaped into something larger than its original form. Each explanation fits part of the evidence, but none fully explains why a structure described with such clarity has left no confirmed trace. So why haven't we found the Hanging Gardens? The most direct answer is not that they didn't exist, but that they may not exist in the way we expect them to. Ancient accounts were not written as technical records. They captured impressions, meaning, and significance, often blending observation with interpretation. Over time, those interpretations can shift. Scale can expand. Complexity can increase. What begins as a real structure can become something more idealized, something that reflects what people believed it represented, rather than what it physically was. But even that explanation doesn't fully remove the possibility that something real existed at the center of the story. Because the consistency across different accounts suggests that the idea of the gardens was not random. It was based on something seen, something significant enough to be remembered across generations. And that leaves one possibility that is harder to ignore. Either we haven't found it yet, or we've been looking for the wrong thing this entire time. Because if the structure existed in a form that doesn't match our expectations, if it was built differently, located differently, or recorded in a way that altered its original context, then the absence of evidence is not proof of absence. It's a signal that the search itself may be misaligned. And that is what keeps this story open. Not because it has been proven, but because it has not been closed. Some wonders were built to last, and some were never meant to be found. And if this stayed with you, you're in the right place. Join us next time. Tilt and chill. Stay curious.